Yo, what is up? My name's Nolan. I'm a realtor for Capital Estates. Uh, Today I'm making this video over the 5 steps to get started in real estate investing. This method was taught to me by Fred Tishar. I took his real estate investing class, learned a lot of information there. I picked up 2 of his books. Follow the Golden Brick Road and Clients for Life. These two are these both books have great information to kind of get your mind thinking about real estate investing, and outlines a lot of the benefits that are presented to you. And this is kind of why I wanted to start making these videos, to kind of share some of the information that I have learned over the past 6 months of being a realtor and studying real estate investing. It's been a very eye-opening experience for me. It all started day one when I got hired at Capital Estates. Brad gave me the book Millionaire Real Estate Investor, and it's kind of funny because I've never considered myself someone that enjoyed reading or really was into reading. But once I started taking my pre-licensing courses to become a realtor, and I was taking them self-study and having to read through textbooks on my own, I kind of picked up reading a lot more, and I enjoy it a lot now. So Brad got me started with this, and this really got my mind into thinking about real estate investing. And there's a lot of very important lessons to be learned in these books, and I just kind of want to share that with you guys because anybody can get started in real estate investing. And that was one of the things that Brad and Fred have taught me, is me being someone with really no credit history. I'm a 1099 IRS tax thing now. I don't really know. That's not my field of expertise. I'm a realtor. I'm not a tax expert or a legal professional or any of that. I just like houses. I like investing. So let's get started. Just like I said, before you get into investing, you really have to get into the mindset of an investor, and you really have to study. Like you have to learn about all the things that other investors are already thinking of and already doing to create a successful investment business, because it is a business. Anyone's going to tell you if you're getting started in investing, you're going to have to create an LLC, you're going to have to set up all this stuff to even get started. But it is the best business out there. That was taught to me by Fred. He was comparing it to side hustles, because like everyone likes their side hustle and getting into things to make a little extra cash at the end of the day, because who would not want that? But a lot of the main issue with that is a majority of those businesses fail due to cash flow. And with real estate investing, due to the demand of housing and the necessity for housing, there's always going to be that cash flow present. Unless you just absolutely run a property down and don't make any improvements and are a shitty person and raise rents without making improvements, you're gonna put yourself out of business. But if you want to be in business for life and make an impact on the world, real estate investing is a great way for you to do that. You have to understand that investing your money into real estate is the #1 way to build wealth, and that's hands down. It's the #1 choice of investment for Americans, and I think that's going on 8 years now. But I've been seeing a lot of articles concerning retirement, and this can be a great way to generate that passive income that can support your lifestyle that you were living pre-retirement, and you can carry that same lifestyle all the way through retirement through investing in real estate and creating this business. It's a numbers game. You have to be savvy about all the rules. You have to understand the numbers, and working with someone who has knowledge of how those numbers work and can get you a proper analysis on the properties that you're interested in. That can be very beneficial to you being a savvy investor, because no one knows everything. We're all humans here, and we need to work together with each other to get things how we want them to be. And the number one thing you can be is a good borrower. If you can borrow good information from the people that you're around, and everyone's happy with it, you're gonna be successful too. Getting started can be very easy. If you have good credit, it could just be as simple as going to a bank and asking for a loan, see what you can get approved for. I'd love to talk to you about how you could get started. But even if you don't have good credit, there are other ways too. There's private lending. You can get a hard money loan. Seller financing could be even a good way too. But there's just all these other ways that you can get yourself in without having that backup, without having the finances to get started. Again, this method is highlighted in both of Fred's books and his classes. It's the find, analyze, buy, fix, seller, rent strategy. I know there's 1,000 other strategies to investing, but I feel like this is very simple and straightforward to kind of get your head around the bigger picture. So when you go to find an investment property, you need to find something that has investment potential. And that means that it can be improved upon, basically. If the property's boarded up windows and has been tagged by the city and no one's living there, that can be a great investment property. That can be a great one, but it just depends on the person and their goals. You can classify properties into 4 different groups: A, B, C, or D properties, but you do not need to follow it to its core. You don't need to invest into solely A grade properties or B grade properties. Matter of fact, D properties are probably the best for generating cash flow. But there's also issues if you're getting into older declining areas and you're going out trying to be an investor. You want to attract highly desirable clients, and in some areas that's just not possible. So you just kind of need to know what you're working with. After you find the property, you want to go ahead and analyze it. That's the whole property analysis with the numbers and visually. Once you go there, first step would be going and viewing the property, setting up a showing, and actually visually analyzing the property, see if there's any major issues that you didn't see in the listing photos or in the listing description, property disclosures, anything else. But this can also really help you get the idea for the cost of repairs, which really helps your actual numbers analysis portion. So after you check it out, you go ahead, run the numbers, and if the numbers work out, then you can move ahead to buying the property. So that's where your realtor comes in. They write the contracts, but you as the investor have the final say on where you are coming in at. You as the investor, you have to pay attention to your bottom line. That's why you have to have somebody who's willing to give you the numbers, so you can have multiple different options of, if you purchase it at this price, you're gonna see this much return. Like Fred labels it as the good, better, and best investments, because you only want to invest in good properties, but you can invest into a better property, or you can invest into the best. None of them are bad investments. They're all great investments, but if the numbers work out, that's what you're looking at. And when you get under contract and you're moving forward, it's always important to add your due diligence window, and have a clear understanding of when all these need to be performed by, in order to I blanked. Let me think. So you have your due diligence window, and during that you need to do all of your inspections and get everything in order for the purchase to complete. If you breach contract at all, that's when the deal can fall apart. So you really need to have an understanding of all the terms laid out in the contract, and what you, as the buyer, investor, whatever it is, you need to understand that. And you need to have somebody who's there and who's willing to explain all the things that you don't understand, so you can make confident investments or confident purchases, any of that. One big thing I do recommend, especially for investors, if you're doing inspections, only do them for informational purposes only. You're not going to get anything less on the property after the inspection happens. So that is very important. And matter of fact, the seller's not even going to care. I mean, you can be like, oh, there's all these things wrong with it, and they're not even going to want to look at it. So don't even waste your time trying to get a property for less after you have it under contract, because it's just not going to happen. So that's why you need to have your numbers right and make that initial offer something that you're confident in. Home inspections are very important. You can either do whole home inspections. There's inspectors I know that do 3-point inspections. So if you're just looking at 3 different points on the house, they'll go in and inspect that, or something like that. One big thing that I never knew before taking Fred's class was, I never knew sewer line inspections were a thing. I did not know that was a possibility. It was never explained to me in my pre-licensing courses, and I never encountered an issue with that within my first couple months. But Fred says he does that on all of his investments. He says fairly cheap too. If anything, you should inspect the sewer. It's like $129, and that could save you thousands, because they're gonna have to rip the whole sewer line out and shut down the street basically to repair that if it were to have any issues. So after you buy the property, now you're getting to the fun part, and that's fixing it. So you repair, update the property to maximize your profits or intended rental values. That's really about it. You really have to consider your budget that you laid out in the analysis portion, and when you're doing your analysis, I think it's sometimes better to add a little more than what you're initially expecting the repairs to be, just to kind of create this extra cushion. And at the end of the day, that's more money in your pockets if you don't spend it all. So after you fix it, this is where you sell or rent it. It's basically, you either flip the property or you buy and hold it and rent it out. There's so many advantages and disadvantages to each, but neither of them are bad options. Flipping a property can be a great way to make an extra $30,000 a year, or something along the lines of that. But one disadvantage I will say about flipping that is like the big thing that I see is that it's taxed as ordinary income instead of when you buy and hold, you can defer those taxes. Actually, let me retract, because I'm not a tax professional, but I will answer that in a later time. There are just tax benefits. I mean, there's a 1031 exchange that you can do, and I know that. That's one thing I do know. So when you go and buy an investment property, and you sell it, any capital gains you have, you could defer that, and you can defer all the taxes on your capital gains, and you can use that money to go invest into more properties. If you do have any questions regarding real estate taxes, I suggest you speak to a certified public accountant that has knowledge on real estate investing, because us realtors, we know a lot, but we don't do that job, so we don't know everything about it, and there's so much to know about everything. That's why it's important to build a strong team of people who you trust and who are willing to help you understand all the information that there can be to learn in the world of real estate, especially if you're eager in getting started. It's very important to find the right people to help guide you in the right direction. I knew that was important when I started out as a realtor, and that's why I ended up where I am today, because I knew that it was going to be beneficial to me to have someone there who's going to be constantly pointing me in the right direction and constantly looking over my shoulder to make sure I'm on track to achieving the goals that I have. And Brad's been the best person I could ever ask to do that. So I appreciate you guys staying and watching this video. I'll be making more of these to go more in depth into all these steps. I know I covered a lot of broad information today, but I will be going down and putting a magnifying glass on each of these steps to kind of help you understand all the little details that go into each step. But for now, that'll be it. Thank you.